Love. It's a word we hear every day in songs, stories, and promises. Love isn't just a feeling, it's a choice to nurture spiritual growth. It takes effort, energy, sometimes sacrifice. Real love helps a person become whole, mature, steady, aligned with truth. Love is active, intentional, purposeful. It isn't something you fall into. It's something you build. And Scripture raises the stakes even higher. Love is sacred, and it's required. And Jesus made it unmistakably clear when he said, "Love your neighbor as yourself." But what if loving your neighbor isn't as simple as it sounds? What if your neighbor includes the people who are hardest to love? Maybe it's the coworker who drains your patience, the family member who's distant, or the stranger you're tempted to walk past without noticing. When Jesus was asked what the greatest commandment was, his answer was clear: "You shall love the Lord your God with all your heart, all your soul, and all your mind." This is the first and greatest commandment. And the second is like it: "You shall love your neighbor as yourself." To Jesus, loving God and loving others are inseparable. We can't truly love God if we ignore the people around us. As it says in 1 John 4 verse 20, "If anyone says, 'I love God,' and hates his brother, he is a liar." Loving your neighbor isn't optional. It's evidence that God's love is alive in us. In Luke 10, a man asked Jesus, "Who is my neighbor?" Jesus answered with the parable of the Good Samaritan. A man is beaten and left on the side of the road, bloody, helpless, ignored by the very people who should have helped him. Then someone unexpected arrives, someone considered an enemy, and he stops. He helps. He pays the cost. Jesus' message was unmistakable. Your neighbor isn't just the person who looks like you, thinks like you, or lives next door. Your neighbor is anyone in need. Anyone God places in your path, especially when compassion would be inconvenient. And most of the time, those moments don't look dramatic. They look ordinary and easy to miss. So take a moment and reflect. Who has God placed in your path this week? Maybe it wasn't loud or obvious. Maybe it was quiet. But even the smallest acts of kindness reflect the heart of God. For example, a community rebuilds after disaster. A young woman chooses forgiveness instead of bitterness. A man checks on his lonely neighbor every week. A group of teens cleans up a neglected park. Or the man who noticed his elderly neighbor's lights hadn't turned on in days. One knock on the door turned into daily visits. And eventually, he became her only family. These moments remind us of a simple truth. Love isn't just something we say, it's something we do. 1 John 3:18 says, "Let us not love with words or speech, but with actions and in truth." So today, ask yourself, who is my neighbor? And how can I care for them, practically, intentionally, right now? Maybe it's a message of encouragement. Maybe it's forgiveness. Maybe it's your time, your presence, or your attention. Because every act of love, no matter how small, reflects the heart of God in a world that desperately needs it. This is where love shows up in real life. Consider this. What's one simple way you can be good to your neighbor this week? Love isn't always easy, but it is always powerful. And when we love like Jesus, we become living evidence of God's heart to a hurting world. If you got something from this, please follow.